Welcome! This is Minidisc Monday number 53, and it is episode number 2 of the mini-series within this series of Britpop month. Of course, every Monday here in December, as you know, I'm taking a look at 5 Britpop era albums from 5 different Britpop era acts. As we go in kind of chronological order, last week was an album from 1996, Cooler Shakers K. We're going into 1997 now, and for a massive album, a massive seller, this is Urban Hymns by the Verve. So this was apparently the second biggest selling album of 1997. Unsurprisingly, the first one was Be Here Now by Oasis, which we have covered in Minidisc Monday earlier this year for Oasis month actually. Verve's third studio album, the only one of theirs I own, be it on Minidisc or any other format. I do also own a Richard Ashcroft solo album on MD. That won't get covered this month for Britpop month, but it is something that will get reviewed eventually in this MD Monday series. Needs little introduction really, Urban Hymns. The Verve, arguably the biggest band in Britain in 1997 when they came back after about an 18-month to 2-year split with the single Bittersweet Symphony, which is of course on here, and we will get to it and all the other tracks in a bit. But first I'll show you the packaging, the insert and the disc. It's in good condition, a few minor scratches and scuffs on the front side of the case and a bit of a crack down on the back as well, but it's holding together well. Nice little booklet really. The artwork on the album done by Brian Cannon of Microdot, probably most famous for all his Oasis sleeves. I don't think that's his best work. It's not a bad sleeve, it's just a bit kind of meh to me really, but decent enough booklet with photo of the 5 chaps of the Verve in there and band lineup and a few credits, production notes and stuff, track listing on those 2 pages, a few shots in the studio and live in concert there, a couple more nice photos, even more like a sort of collage or a montage of them there. We carry on. Then there's this block of text here. I'm assuming it's lyrics from one of the songs, or maybe even more than one of the songs. I think it might be from The Rolling People, because I can see that phrase in here, but it could be from more than one track. Bit more artwork there, including some of their previous single and album sleeves. Some thanks, another photo, and ending with an alternate shot similar to the front main sleeve, but with a doggy with his tongue hanging out there on the back. And the disc itself, same sort of deal as all mini discs that came in the 1990s and early 2000s of course. Artwork stuck on that side, track listing, record label logo and a bit of legal bump on the other side. Right then, so I've just finished listening to Urban Hymns. What do I think of it? It goes on, if I'm quite honest. I haven't heard this album in many years. I remember when I did hear it, when I bought this mini disc, I was a little bit underwhelmed. I was hoping that as time had passed, I would kind of grow to enjoy this album more. And while there is some definite highs on here and some absolute quality on certain tracks, a lot of it for me is kind of meandering and a little bit self-indulgent really. It sold in droves and the singles did very well too in particular. We'll start with, of course, track 1 and the comeback single, Bittersweet Symphony. I mean, it's got that beautiful sample from The Last Time, which was a Rolling Stones Jagger and Richards song, but the sample used was from the Andrew Loog Oldham Orchestra. There was a lot of controversy with royalties and things that I think only eventually got sorted out in more recent years, but I won't go into that. I mean, one of the best singles of the 90s. I had that single on CD back when it first came out in 1997. It's got an iconic video as well. I mean, you're gonna have an album with Bittersweet Symphony on, then, you know, you're off to a flyer really. And the quality keeps going with track number 2, Sonnet. I always felt it should have been a proper single, and it was released as a single in the UK, but the Verve, the members of the band, didn't really want a 4th single to come out. The record label Hut, a subsidiary of Virgin, kind of disagreed and said you should release a 4th one, so they just released Sonnet as like a selection of 4 12-inch singles, which would mean it would actually be ineligible for the chart. But it did end up getting in the chart. I think it got to just inside the top 75. Based on import sales anyway. Great song, Sonnet. It had a lot of radio airplay, I remember, at the time, and it sounded like something, it would have been another top 10 hit had they released it properly here in the UK, but it is what it is, and I'm sure it remains a fan favourite. Track number 3, The Rolling People, the lyrics of which I think may be quoted within this booklet here. Certainly a homage to the Rolling Stones, not just from the title, but from the sound of the song as well. I enjoyed that. Great track. Track number 4, The Drugs Don't Work. That was a number 1 here in the UK. Although I don't think it's as good as Bittersweet Symphony, you can certainly see why the track was chosen as the 2nd single from Urban Hymns. Very memorable, very anthemic. Again, there's kind of that heavy string-laden backing to the basic melody and structure of the song. I would say a deserved number 1, even though I don't love the track maybe as much as a lot of other people do. Perhaps I've heard it once too often. Catching the Butterfly is next. And then next we have Neon Wilderness. So a couple of sort of more psychedelic, maybe going back to early Verve sort of efforts here, how they were kind of more of a psychedelic or neo-psych, shoegaze type of act in the early 90s when they were first performing. Neon Wilderness is really kind of an instrumental interlude, to be honest. Space and Time is track number 7. That was pretty good, without blowing me away. Weeping Willow, number 8. Number 9 is the 3rd and final proper single, if you don't include Sonnet, from the album, Lucky Man. Another one that did well and had a lot of radio play. I mean, the singles were probably pitched just about perfectly from this album, I would say, in relation to keeping sales going. And as I say, it's the 2nd biggest selling album of 97 and probably one of the iconic releases of the whole decade, really. Number 10, One Day. I enjoyed that, that was pretty good. Number 11, This Time. Number 12, Velvet Morning. And 13 is supposedly the final track, Come On. It does have backing vocals from one Mr. Liam Gallagher, and that's quite a decent way of ending the album. At this point I feel there's a lot of samey, string-laden, maudlin indulgence on this album really. Nothing on it I think's bad, it just feels a little bit of a chore to listen to at its full length. And the length is extended by the fact that there's a bonus track, a hidden track at the end. Apparently that's called Deep Freeze. You have to skim forward a good 5 or more minutes after Come On to hear that. It's sort of an instrumental, trippy kind of piece, and it's disconcerting as well. It samples a baby crying. It's a sort of really weird and spooky way of finishing the album proper. But I'm glad to have heard that bonus track. I'm not sure I even realised to wait and listen to it when I first heard this album years ago. So that is Urban Hymns from the Verve. While I think there's some absolutely great stuff on here, all the singles are either very good to outstanding. There's a couple of other album deep cuts that I say would have made probably good singles had the Verve wanted to release more, or were just quality within the album, but some of this just kind of felt a bit sort of overblown in places and a little bit too introspective, really. And while I'm sure there'll be plenty of people out there disagree and think this is an instant classic and one of the greatest albums of all time, and I can't compare it to any other Verve albums, the only one I can compare it to is Alone with Everybody by Richard Ashcroft, the singer in the Verve, obviously, and I've not heard that in years, and I will listen to that in preparation for a future MD Monday review. You may love this. I like it just enough, but I think it's too long and too self-indulgent ultimately, but it is a Britpop icon, really. So there we go, another Minidisc Monday for Britpop month done and dusted. We've got 3 more to go as we get to the end of 2025. Thank you all for watching this, and I want to give special thanks as always to my subscribers and wonderful generous patrons. I'm going to go now, and please join me again in just 1 week's time as I take a look at another band from the Britpop era and another 1990s album here for Britpop month on Minidisc Monday. Cheers everyone. See ya!